Hi there, I thought I would show you my little Ghetto soundproofing. What I did here is just get some acoustic foam from a cheap eBay store and just put it against the wall, and instead of gluing it to the wall, I just used nails. You can see the nail head here, and this material is soft, so you can put it in like this, and you can see how the nail is holding up the whole thing. This holds up very well. I mean, you can even apply some force, and you don't need a lot of nails. I mean, I have one here, and you can kind of guess the distance to the next nail. It's here. Here I have a larger panel, so you have one nail here on the corner, one in the middle, and one in the corner again. So this distance from here to the third nail here, well, actually the whole panel is 1 meter wide. So I held this up with just 3 nails here, 3 nails here in the middle, 3 here. Actually, you can go around the corner with these. I just, folded it up nicely, and it goes on here on the ceiling until here. I can see the seam. Now, if you install those on the ceiling, I recommend you just get your average mic stand like this, and you prop it up. You put the whole extension here, and you just hold the panel up in place right on the center. So you hold it up on the center, and the corners are gonna go down, but doesn't matter. You can just stand on a chair. For example, let's take this corner. So you have this propped up in the middle, you stand on a chair, you push up that corner, nail it in, and you're good. Then you do the next corner, boom, next corner, boom, 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 and you're done. This is done very quickly. You're gonna sweat a lot because for some reason those things don't only retain sound waves, they also retain heat. So if you're standing right below this, you're gonna sweat. Now these are terribly yellow. They used to be white like this, even whiter actually. But it's kind of like an air filter. If you see a cigarette butt somewhere, when it's brand new, it's totally white. Then you smoke the cigarette, and it's gonna turn very yellow. So these things do the same. They filter the air in your room. Now, if you live in a dirty city, it's gonna look even worse. But these turn yellow within, I think, less than 3 years. I mean, the first few months they were white, then they started getting yellow at the seams here on the sides, and then they just turn yellow all the way. This is rather cheap material. I did the whole room on like 40 euros on eBay, which is kind of nice. Now you don't want to do the whole room like this, because it's going to be very dead. Now for vocals it's quite okay because it takes out all the slapback echo and the treble range. But if you're recording guitars and something similar, it's gonna remove a lot of ambience and life in the treble range, and you don't want that. Now for vocals this is quite okay because it's a rather large room. It doesn't sound boxy at all, and I have it up in the corner here. So, this kind of takes all the life out of it, which is kind of what you want for vocals. You're gonna put your delays and echoes on there. But for live instruments, it's kind of bad. So in my next room, I'm just gonna put up a few panels. I guess I'm gonna do a little video about that because I learned a lot doing this, and I have some ideas that I want to try out for putting up new panels. Now, what nails do you want to use? Let's look for a nail here. There you go. You can see the nail head is quite large. I put that in. So the only thing holding up the panel in place is the shaft and the head. Now, what the head does, it doesn't really hold it in, but it's just barely stopping the foam from getting out in this direction. Now if you put it up on the ceiling, you're gonna need a little more nails. The thing is, if you have a big part here on the ceiling, you kind of can help yourself with strings. So you put the nails right into the ceiling, and the next nail is going to be here, and you just tie a string between here and there. And what's going to hold up the panel is actually the piece of string. Now I can see it with my naked eye. There you go. You have one nail here, piece of string, holding up the whole panel, and going into the next nail. Now these are the nails that I used. Well, that's all German. The thing you want to have is a relatively thin shaft, so you don't punch like huge holes in your walls, because you don't put any stress on them. You don't need screws or anything. You want a relatively large head here, so you can tie the strings around it. I'll show you here. So this is a fairly large head, and you want them to be stainless, or like these here. There are steel, but with a zinc overcoat. So what this does, it just prevents the nail from rusting. If this would be rusting, the whole humidity in your room would be, kind of take the rust out of the nail and into the foam. So I've seen this in studios actually, where you have some rusty parts in the wall and the rust just gets soaked up like a sponge. Well, this basically is a sponge, and you're gonna have brown rings around every nail, or everything that kind of is metal. And it doesn't only look horrible, it looks really horrible. Like, it looks like if those were up like 20 years, and you don't want them. Those nails aren't too expensive compared to the regular ones, so you want to have those. You don't want rust. Now for the length, you just take your panel. Actually, here's a little advice on cutting. This is the industrial cut, so the panel just ended here, and it goes up and down those bumps. Now I can't cut this nicely, I only used a pair of scissors, and what I did is I cut next to the bumps. I cut along this line here. Now you can either cut along this line or along this line, right through the bumps, right through the alleys. If you have a small pair of scissors, this is gonna be actually a little easier. You just cut it right in the middle of the bump. You take one step, cut, boom, then you cut the valley, cut the bump, cut the valley. That's gonna give you a kind of straight line. What I did here though is I just cut next to the bumps. So I cut along this line right in the middle. It's a little harder because your scissors are gonna be going, instead of going straight, this is gonna push the scissor blade. So you're gonna kind of cut here, in wavy patterns, and it's not gonna look very clean. I mean, I did an okay job, I guess. It could be done better. Now here's a little close-up on the string technique. Now this is a slanted ceiling. You have the window here, it's at an angle. And I just drove in some nails, with the fat heads. And you can tie the string behind the nail. So what you do is you put in the nails, one here, one there. And once you have two nails, you just take a piece of string, go like this from the previous nail, twist it around a few times, then go to the next one, twist it around a few times, and then proceed. So you just have a grid of string holding the things together. You do this, then the material is going to come down on the top, but that doesn't matter. You start at the bottom, you work your way up, and then you proceed with the next piece. You gotta tie the string back up, twirl it around the nail, and have a nice grid. Now the best thing about this technique is that you can remove it very easily. I mean, it's not glued anywhere, it's just nailed down on a few spots. So you're just gonna remove the nails with pliers, and the whole panel is gonna come down.